All right, let's talk about a company that literally keeps our cities from drowning, JASH Engineering. Now, this is a company that works in a space you probably never, ever think about until, it fails. And when it fails in a big, catastrophic way. So let's get right into it. So let me ask you a question. What actually stops your city from drowning in a flood? I mean, really think about it. The rain is coming down, the rivers are rising. What is the last thing standing between your home and a total disaster? It's not luck, and it's definitely not magic. It's some seriously heavy-duty, hardcore engineering. And that's exactly where JASH comes in. This quote right here, it absolutely nails it. This is not a pipe company. This is infrastructure survival equipment. You've got to get this in your head right from the start. JASH isn't selling some off-the-shelf pipe or a simple valve. Nope. They're selling the mission-critical gear that keeps our entire urban world functioning, especially when Mother Nature decides to throw a punch. They're literally in the business of, municipal survival.
So let's get into it. The city survival business. We're talking about understanding that last line of defense. Okay, so what does JASH Engineering do? In a nutshell, they design and build the absolute mission-critical equipment that controls massive flows of water. We're talking about dams, sewage plants, huge flood barriers, you name it. This is not your local hardware store stuff. This is high-stakes, hydromechanical survival hardware that stops sewage from backing up into your streets and keeps dams from failing.
Just look at their products and what they do. You've got penstocks and gates. These are the massive barriers for flood control. Then you have screening systems. Sounds boring, right? Well, these are the things that prevent an entire sewage treatment plant from just failing. And valves and stop logs, that's what a city relies on to survive a monsoon season. Each one of these is a piece of what I'd call civilization maintenance. And I'll say it again, this is not a commodity business.
All right, let's switch gears and talk about the money side of things, because this is where a lot of these stories fall apart. An unbreakable financial moat, where narratives die and only cash matters. And let me just say this up front. Most infrastructure companies, they look amazing on a spreadsheet, but in reality, they're just black holes for cash. They just suck it all up. The big question is JASH any different?
Well, the very first clue is right here. A return on capital employed, that's ROCE, of around 30%. Now, for an industrial manufacturing company, that's a fantastic number. It basically means that for every 100 rupees they put back into the business, they're getting 30 rupees back in profit every single year. That's a sign of a really, really high-quality operation.
And here's another thing I love to see, their discipline. A debt-to-equity ratio of about 0.3. What does that mean in plain English? It means they are not hooked on debt. They're not borrowing a ton of money to fuel growth. This gives them a rock-solid, survivable balance sheet. No bankers breathing down their neck. That's absolutely critical in a business like this. And when you zoom out and look at the last 3 years, the picture just gets better. Sales growth, strong and steady. Profit growth, same story. Their operating margins are consistently stable, hovering in that mid to high teens range, which is great. And return on equity, consistently over 20%. You see all those green check marks? That's not an accident. That is the signature of a disciplined, high-quality company that just knows how to get the job done.
So the big question, is it cheap? Well, no, not really. The stock market isn't dumb. It knows JASH isn't just some generic commodity player, so it's priced higher than those guys. But here's the interesting part. It's still trading at a discount to the big global players, the big OEMs that have similar technical chops. And that, to me, seems pretty logical. The market gets that it's special, but maybe it doesn't fully appreciate just how special it is.
Okay, now for what I call the ultimate forensic accounting test. Are the profits they're reporting actually real? Here's the key. Their cash flow from operations, or CFO, pretty much tracks their EBITDA over time. This is so important. It means the profits you see on the income statement aren't just some accounting fantasy. They are being converted into actual cold, hard cash in the bank. This proves it. The business is not a cash trap. So you've got to be asking, why are the numbers so consistently good? It all boils down to one incredibly powerful concept, the installed base lock-in. Think about it. Once a city installs a massive JASH gate in one of its dams, they are stuck with it for decades. Trying to switch it out for a cheaper alternative? It's unbelievably expensive, risky, and a logistical nightmare. The guys on the ground, the maintenance teams, they're going to veto that cheap option every single time. They want what they know works. Your biggest competitor at that point is, well, it's your own past performance. Okay, we've talked business, we've talked numbers. Now let's talk about the people in charge. Because let me tell you, a fantastic business in the hands of the wrong management is just a train wreck in slow motion. We need to know if these guys are builders or if they're extractors. And what's so telling about this management team is looking at what they didn't do, right? They didn't go off on some reckless diversification spree. They didn't pile on a mountain of debt, no crazy real estate side projects or unrelated acquisitions. Instead, what did they do? They focused. They stuck to their core business, they expanded their capacity, and they improved their processes. This is classic disciplined capital allocation. They're builders, not empire builders. And this right here shows you just how aligned they are with shareholders. The promoters, the founding family, own about 60% of the company. That means their own personal wealth is tied directly to how well this business does over the long haul. They have serious skin in the game. If the company does poorly, they feel that pain directly. That's exactly the kind of setup you want to see. You know, in the world of infrastructure, you really need operators, not storytellers. And that's the key takeaway here. JASH is run by engineers. These are people focused on making stuff that absolutely cannot fail under extreme pressure. They're not out there spinning fancy stories for the market. And for a business where reliability is everything, that is the perfect mindset. All right, so we've covered the business, the numbers, and the management. It all looks pretty solid, but now it's time for the final verdict. We need to do a stress test and figure out the kill switch. Where could this whole thing just fall apart? So let's just ask the brutal question, where could this business die? Because every investment carries that risk of permanent capital loss, and you have to face it head on. What's the one thing that could actually kill this company for good? This little map here really lays it out. The biggest, most extreme risks, a catastrophic product failure. I mean, if one of their gates fails at a major dam, their reputation is toast. Gone. Overnight. The other one? A major misstep from the promoters. Let's say they do something completely out of character, like a huge debt-fueled acquisition. That would be a thesis breaker. But you look at the track record, and the probability of either of those things happening is pretty low. The other stuff, like a hiccup in execution, yeah, that's possible, but it's manageable. It's not going to kill the company. And all of that brings us to the final conclusion. High conviction, low drama. This is a high conviction idea because it's a low drama business. It is fundamentally built to survive, just like the infrastructure it's designed to protect. So who should actually own a stock like this? Well, it's perfect for patient capital. Think family offices or institutions that are looking for steady, boring compounding without all the theatrics. Now, who should avoid this? Anyone who needs excitement, who's watching the price every day, or who's looking for a quick re-rating. This stock will punish impatience. It is not for traders. So let's wrap this all up. The final thesis is actually pretty simple. JASH doesn't sell gates. It sells civilization-maintenance. This isn't just another cyclical industrial company. It's providing essential, non-discretionary equipment for municipal survival. And you know what? Floods, sewage, and crumbling infrastructure, they really don't care if there's a recession. Look, this is how serious money survives and grows over decades. By owning businesses that quietly compound value by literally protecting us from chaos. The only question left is, do you have the patience for it? Because this is the kind of business that builds real wealth, slowly and steadily, one protected city at a time.